If you want to see more videos and interviews like this from influential people in tech, finance, and sports, subscribe to the channel and make sure you hit the bell to be alerted. And go a step further and join the YouTube and membership area for early releases of videos like this. I'm out of here. Ha! Oh yeah, it's your boy Crypto Blood, and welcome to another Kicking It session. Today I've got Stevon Cook on with me. I'm returning the favor. A guy that I've known for a few years now. We met back in the tech startup world. We were trying to get our startup game going, and very interesting guy, independent thinker, all that good stuff. Stevon, what's going on, man? How are you today?
Crypto Blood.
I don't see no Detroit gear on, bro. I'm really offended, because I wore some Bay Area stuff for you, and you couldn't even return the favor.
I know, my hat game is lacking. It should be stronger given the recession.
Yeah.
But I used to have a bunch of hats like back in the day, and I just kind of let them go. You know. But I always respected your style game, and
appreciate
I appreciate
it, bro.
you wearing the SF hat during our.
Oh yeah. So thanks again for joining me on the Kicking It session, bro. This is your first time on, so I don't know. I did rebroadcast the interview we did on your channel. Tell us about your channel and how you started that and all that good stuff, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so the name of my YouTube channel is Cook on Monday Morning. At Cook on Monday Morning, we're building lives that make us excited about Monday morning. We believe that if we can own Monday morning, we can own the week. If we can own the week, we can own the year. And if we change our year, we can change our lives.
Nice.
And so that's the whole intro for it. Yeah. Well, I do that too. Well, I did that at one point.
Yeah, we'll get into that. So what made you do the podcast thing? No.
I was gonna launch into that. The whole concept of owning Monday. I kind of wanted to flip a perception on dreading the start of the week. And a lot of the people that I know attack their days, attack their weeks, or feel like they have lives that are purposeful, or they look forward to the day. Maybe not every day, but they want to be in a mindset where that's the case. So I just wanted to put that energy into the world and highlight and speak to people like you that are doing things that they love to do. I mean, not only love to do, but they're really good at doing, and they're producing. They're committed. You represent that, which is why I wanted to have you on. But I've had on a range of people. I've had on boxers, elected officials, other commentators. We had on Hotep. I had on a U.S. senator. I had on Jerry Rice. So we've had a range of people on.
Nice. I hadn't seen the Jerry Rice one. That's dope. How did that come about? How did the Jerry Rice one come about?
It was a collaboration with Macy's. For the last 3 years, I've done Macy's Black History Month event, and their guest this year was Jerry Rice. The year before, it was a Grammy Award-winning artist named Fantastic Negrito. And before that, we had Malcolm X's daughter and a man that started a venture capital firm named Eric Moore, started Base Ventures, black man based out here. He's had a lot of dope people invest in this fund, including Serena Williams.
Nice. That's cool. So how do you typically source your guests? Is it kind of hard? You do it only every Monday, so you have them spaced out. But how do you typically go about sourcing new guests for the show?
Yeah, it's arranging my network and people I'm interested in. Mm-hmm. So, the internet, everyone is a bit more accessible than it used to be. But there is no real. I think one of the things that I struggle with the podcast is focusing on a particular industry. I just want to talk to the people that I'm interested in, So I have to like the genuine source is I like you, or I want to spend an hour with you. I feel motivated to, because my channel isn't at a point where I have a sponsorship or especially large audience. So it's just really self-interest and curious about the people that I want to talk to. And so I'll stack it. So I'll do like our interview happened, I think like a month and a half before I released it.
Yeah.
I'll record like a ton of them and just release them on Mondays.
Yeah, I was like, when after we recorded it, a couple weeks went by, and then I think like a month went by. I'm like, wait a minute. Hit up Stevon and see what the hell is going on here, bro. I know you didn't, So that was that's good to do it that way. You kind of maximize your time, and kind of have yourself ahead of schedule, so you're not running around trying to record something for the following Monday. That's smart to do, in my opinion. So let's go backwards. Let's go back to when when we met, me, you, my buddy Ed. I call him Ed, and Eddie. Tell us about that time in your life. What were you trying to do? Walk us through the whole tech, being black, what you witnessed, pros, cons. Kind of take us there.
Yeah, we met through the Civic Accelerator, Points of Light, and
which is closed now. I went to the site. I don't know if you knew that.
News to me.
I went to the site because I was telling someone, bragging to someone, like, yeah, I was in the Civic Points of Light Accelerator and da and this cohort and blah blah blah. And then I went to try to bring the site up, bro, and it was the program is shut down, if I'm not mistaken.
Was interesting because one of my homies went through it and he started a program. It was a gun buyback program, which was like crowdsourcing people. They raised money and they would give people a certain amount of money to turn in their guns. His father was killed by an armed robber when he was young. But anyway, that's how I heard about the organization, Points of Light. Okay. And so when I was starting, I got hired to be the CEO of a nonprofit that taught coding in high schools across the Bay Area. It's called Mission Bit. I was the first employee for the organization. So, it was all volunteer run. There was no money. And they hired me to build it from the ground up. So the founder asked me to do it. And, I don't know anything about coding. I know you have a background as a computer scientist.
Yeah. It was interesting. Sorry to cut you off, Stevon, but it was interesting to see when we met you down in where was the first meetup?
Atlanta.
Was it in Atlanta? It was interesting to hear your story, what you were leading, and you not being a tech background, a technical person. That was interesting to see.
I was motivated by the problem of trying to connect young people to skills like you have that have high earning potential.
Yeah,
and we're in the city where that industry is booming, but at the same time, there wasn't a lot of access to the learning opportunity. Like 3% of public school students had access to a computer science class. At the same time, within that 3%, like 70% were white and Asian, and only 3% were girls. So it's something really ridiculous like that. So we provided this sort of after school summer option as a way to introduce students to the learning opportunity. It was focused on them building things, them solving problems. And it really required me to rely on a lot of other people to see it happen, because I couldn't teach a class. I didn't really know what the requirements were to hire an instructor. So my focus was like telling the story and hiring the talent and recruiting the students and sort of building this connector, which has sort of been like a theme of my career, trying to be a connector, trying to build bridges. So Points of Light seemed like a great opportunity to actually get some training on what it was to build anything. And I applied in my first year of running the organization, and I was declined.
Okay.
By the time I applied again, my organization was already bigger than most of the cohort. Like I had more staff, I had a bigger budget.
Yeah.
So my organization was further along than our peers in that cohort.
Yeah, you were definitely up and running by the time we met you. Was that your first accelerator?
First and only, yeah.
Okay. What were your thoughts about that process, going through that? Because Points of Lights, guys, this was a unique one because typically an accelerator is going to be in one location for X amount of months. You stay there. This one was different. We spent a week in each location: Atlanta, New York, and ended in Seattle. Mm-hmm. But we had time, about a month in between each city, to go back home, work on stuff, come back. So what was your thought? That was a unique accelerator, incubator, or whatever you want to call it, but that was different than the typical. But what was your thoughts on that, and did that actually help you in any form or fashion?
Yeah, I would say the network helped, meaning I've been in touch with Ed a lot more than I have with you. Mm-hmm. So I made friends. There are other people that were really dope that I was inspired by. The tools, I wouldn't say I utilized that effectively. Mm-hmm. It was just hard to concentrate. I just had too much going on. But that, and it was kind of interesting because it was like this competitive aspect to it where we had to rank each other to get the money at the end.
Yeah.
But I think all in all, it was positive. I really appreciate the experience, to get to talk, to get to practice sharing the story, to get to see how it resonated with people. It always helps you hone, how you're communicating. So all in all, wasn't that positive. I don't really have anything else to compare it to, though. And for everything else that I've applied for, I've also been declined. Like I applied to Y Combinator, got declined. I applied to Camelback Ventures. I think that's what it's called, and got declined. So
why do you think that was the case? Was it hard to grasp the concept of what you were attempting to do with the inner city kids, or what do you think? It just wasn't as sexy, or path to profitability wasn't, what do you think?
I think that some of the folks believe that folks like it was already being handled. The perception of coding at the time, it just was commanding the conversation around what should be happening in school. Everyone should learn how to code, Hour of Code, Black Girls Code, Hidden Genius Project. There were a lot of organizations sprouting up, and I think that people kind of saw us as another coding organization. And so, and it takes time. I mean, it takes time. Some people who ended up denying us came back around, or their organization didn't support us, but they did personally. Like the founder of Y Combinator is another Black man. We didn't get in. He's not the founder, he's the CEO. We didn't get in, but he donated personally to the organization. So
nice.
The same thing with Google. Google what they had this whole like Google Impact Fund, Google.org, and that was interesting because several times they invited me to apply, and then several times they declined us. But just now this year, they donated to the organization. My successor is now there. Her name is Christina. So Google is finally investing in Mission Bit through their .org, which is dope.
Nice. Now, are you still CEO, leading Mission Bit still today? What's the status with that?
Right. So I left Mission Bit in May of 2019. The current CEO is a woman named Christina. Okay. She was one of the program managers while I ran the organization. She's really just like taking it to another level. Okay. I think Mission Bit really needed me to get it off the ground. My attention was split because I'm also on the board of education here, and she actually has a background as a social worker, but she's so task oriented and focused. And so the organization has raised more money. She's kept all the past donors. They're still involved. The program is just like, the output of what they're doing, even with the content that they're making, is a lot stronger. So I'm really proud of her.
That makes sense, man. So yeah, you kind of touched on what you're doing nowadays. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in Stefon's world now in 2020.
Yeah, I started a consulting firm doing strategic advising, helping ed tech companies or various businesses grow into new markets. A lot of, we talk about our network, right? Like a lot of how I built my career is the relationships and being that connector. So I didn't realize that you can actually get paid to do that. So, so I started doing that.
Nice.
More recently, I've gotten into some work around recruiting. So trying to find opportunities for people, mostly in the real estate space, being another connector there.
Right.
And I've started doing some training and facilitating with companies as it relates to creating policies focused on diversity hiring and creating a more equitable workspace. So that's very new. I've just started doing that. All of what I earn with consulting, the purpose is to go toward real estate. So,
remember back when I think we were in Seattle, man, we had this conversation about real estate back then, bro. And you were about to buy like an $800,000, or you were looking at an $800,000 home back then to live in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm like, Stevon, don't do it. Reconsider. Read some later. Sure, are you certain? Bro, whatever happened with that, and tell us how, if maybe you've changed your mindset on real estate, let me know where you are with real estate nowadays.
Yeah, you and Ed definitely opened my eyes, showed me the path. You guys, like you all dropped a lot of jewels on me. That it sort of, it was seeds that were planted. It took a minute.
Yeah. Right. Because our delivery was very
Detroit.
Detroit. We joked and laughed and stuff. We had a ball, man, back then. But yeah. What's up? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. In more ways than you realize when it came to real estate. We had discussions about relationships. Like we talked about a lot of things that I just wasn't. It's so interesting thinking about it. That was like 3 years ago or something like that. And it's so interesting thinking about how much my perspective has changed, and how folks like you contributed to that. And it really, so with Ed, I know he's more active with the work with like securing properties, turning them around, getting them rented out.
Oh, he's doing this thing, man. I commend him. I'm more skeptical of the market and have been for a few years, but he's been going full steam ahead and making things happen. Even through the pandemic, he's been looking for more properties and acquiring properties and stuff. I think he acquired another like 4 or 6 unit or something he's going to work on. I don't know. I haven't talked to him in maybe about 2-3 weeks, but yeah.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in a minute either, but it's been longer than that since last time I spoke to him. But the biggest thing y'all put me on was Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
Which we talked a little bit about during my discussion, and I know you have some some opinions about him. But...
Yeah, I listen, man. I extract the things that I can extract from people, and leave it at that. I'm not one of those people like I gotta like everything about you to mess with you. You know what I'm saying? I can extract certain things and throw away and block some of the other stuff. Cardone, he kind of runs a used carmen's sales type of pitch. It's a little weird to me, but the one thing that stuck with me, man, is he said, I'm paraphrasing, rent where you stay, own where you rent. Something along those lines, and that just stuck with me, man. That stuck with me because if you own all the rental properties that you have, that's going to pay for the place that you can rent. That gives you flexibility. I can go rent a house in Malibu for a year, then I can leave, go somewhere else for a year, all that being paid by my assets, productive assets, the rental properties, and so on and so forth. So yeah, man.
Yeah, no, it really is a paradigm shift, especially given like the American focus on owning a home being the pathway to prosperity. And so it interrupted that in a way that, it kind of sat with me for a minute. And so, but I got to him, I got to his books, and he does some stuff that I'm definitely not allowed. I think he's like a Scientologist.
Oh, is
Yeah, weirdo stuff. But the message,
Oh
like
man.
the message and the aggressiveness around
Yeah.
going deep on whatever it is that you do, the quality of the content, like the amount of content, the amount of books, the 10x mindset, like all of that is good,
Right.
and that paradigm shift is positive. So
Yeah.
but I'm with you on, take what you like, leave the rest.
Exactly. So I'm on your website. We've got it pulled up here, StevonCook.com. Check it out, guys, because he has his podcast on there. And I'm on your bookshelf page. This is very interesting. First, I want to ask you, like, of this list. I'm assuming you've read all of these books here. Of this list of books, which would be maybe your favorite or top 3, something like that? It's kind of hard to pick your favorite book.
The interesting thing about the list is so all right, I'll just name a few that I think are really worth reading. Tribes by Seth Godin is worth reading.
I saw a couple Seth Godin books on here. Yep.
The 10x Rule, I think is worth reading by Cardone. And yeah, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I mean, the range of books, I really wanted to showcase a diversity of types of books and thought. So there are ideas on there, or books that represent the ideas that conflict with other books that represent different ideas. And, we talked about being an independent thinker.
Right.
That list is kind of old too, right? I haven't updated that list in a long time. There's a lot more books that I've read since that I would definitely add. And so I'm just hungry for information, and I like to read things that I don't agree with. I like to read.
Yeah, that's powerful there. Yeah.
I mean, I have Trump's book on there, Art of the Deal.
I saw it.
Yeah, and
that's my guy.
Yeah, I know. That's
and I'm proud to say
it. And I have Obama's book, Audacity to Hope, on there.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I don't necessarily. It's not. I don't like him. He's like, if you take him for like what he embodies from a black male's perspective to reach the office is amazing. Right? How he got there, if he was allowed to get there, those are other things that's another conversation. But just to have that and have kids be able to look at someone that looks like them, say, oh, he's been in office. I love it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So no, I don't hate Barack Obama at all. I just wish he could have done a little bit more for the people that looked like him. But a couple on here caught my attention, and I wanted to bring that up. One being this Principles book by Ray Dalio. I read this. This is a good book, ladies and gents. I'll try to leave a link to this one. Excellent book right there. The other one that caught my attention, Jack Welch. That's a good one. I didn't read that one, but I followed him for many years. He just passed away, I think, last year or earlier this year. But the other one, surprisingly, maybe not, but Stephen Hawking. I'm a big astrophysicist, quantum. I'm into that. Like, I watch those types of videos almost every day on YouTube, bro. I don't watch crypto videos. I don't watch anything crypto related. I'm watching videos on quantum mechanics and quantum theory and finance. That's what. So it was neat that you had that. Tell us what made you pick up that one by Stephen Hawking.
The interesting thing about that book was it was first referred to me about 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, when I was working at a high school, and a student gave it to me who had attendance issues. Like, he was like deeply into books, but he just was not into school. And
he was too busy reading books.
Yeah, right. And one of the things about education, I mean, the education system, there's a lot of issues with it that we can kind of dive into. But he was like, really fascinated by the idea. So I got that book. I actually did the audio book. It was I remember being like eye-opening, really dense, really fun, you know. So and it's more so also a way to commend that young man. You know, I haven't seen him since those conversations, but
Gotcha.
I still think about him.
Yeah, that's deep. That's deep. Want to talk about crypto? I don't hear you. Haven't heard you. I was in crypto back then. I don't know if we had those conversations at that point about crypto. Not really.
No.
What's your thoughts on it? What's your thoughts on Bitcoin? And we can kind of go from there. Just skim the surface.
This might be another topic you have to open my mind to because it's completely shut off.
Oh man!
I'm like,
bro, I had to have mentioned crypto, especially when we were in New York. That's when it went crazy.
You know, I don't think I didn't even know you had a YouTube channel until Ed told me.
Yeah, I didn't then. No, I didn't have one then.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have one then.
Yeah. Ed told me about your YouTube channel, and Hotep Jesus, when he was on my podcast, mentioned you during the channel.
Right.
Is how I actually like you really start to like get into your content, and it's way over my head.
Gotcha.
Like what you do with the crypto stuff. I mean, I think we talked about this during my discussion too. It's like you're so deep into it. So you know, I'm just not that familiar with it. I'm more so of that that Buffett philosophy of investing with what you understand.
Yep.
But
that makes sense.
The craze related to crypto, you know, concerns me. And it
okay,
is
good.
Like,
good
it's
point.
Like
good point.
Waves and dips and everything. And with certain investments, like I started investing in stocks. I'm not really like a big trader these days either, but you know, I kind of got introduced to stocks in college, and this was when Citigroup was like $1. This was like right around the Great Recession, you know, and Apple was like at 100. It dropped to 100, and I was like, you know, it started to shoot, and I was just like, forget it, I missed the wave. And my homie was like, nah, buy now. And I was like, nah, I missed it, but it kept going up. It was like, buy now. I was like, nah, I missed it, and it kept going up.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I've settled around, you know, putting my money in crypto or in Bitcoin.
Gotcha.
If it goes up, I just missed it. It's not like I'm not gonna make money, you know.
Yeah.
We gonna make money, but yeah, I'm not. So I'm following as an observer of the conversation. I see, like I follow Pomp also. He was on the podcast. Anthony Pompolino was on my podcast, and I know you've had folks connected to him on your show.
Jason Williams, his partner over at Morgan Creek Digital. Yeah.
Yeah, I know Hotep is big into it. Hotep Jesus is big, and you're big into it. So, you know, I like the message and what you all are pushing, and the types of issues connected to policy and monetary policy that crypto represents, and you know what the investment opportunity can do. And I'm seeing all these large companies gain exposure, you know, kind of through following you all, like, oh, this person's now involved, that person's now involved. So it just reminds me of that whole, I don't know if you followed that the tulip
bubble back in is that the Netherlands or
I forget the country. I read it like, and I read the story on Wikipedia, you know. And so whenever I feel like I'm gonna jump on a bandwagon around my money, and I'm not like actually that into it, you know, it's not really something for me to do. Now, if I was just gonna, if the decision was, if I just had the money and this decision was, you know, buy a sports car or put it in crypto, like I would put it in crypto, you know, but I'm just not, my money ain't there yet.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense, man. And rather you be honest and like you said, the Buffett approach, invest in the areas of competence that you have, right? In the areas that you understand. I think that is definitely the right way not to get wrecked. Because if you just throw money at something you don't understand, you'll never know when it's overvalued, when it's undervalued, so on and so forth. So I appreciate that stance on crypto. But ladies and gentlemen, I will get him on the bandwagon. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
If I do, it's going to be because of conversations like, because all the homies are talking about crypto and or Bitcoin and where it's going. And
see, I don't really necessarily go that angle with it.
Like, well, I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking
yeah,
about
I know. I'm just saying, like most, I don't even. I would say most people play in this crypto space purely as a speculative space. Now I do too. I actively trade cryptos. I have I build algorithms that automatically trade these markets. I do speculative as well, but I'm saying though, my overall approach to it is the same as it's been since I got into it, and it's a new asset class that is finite in supply and is immutable, meaning you can double spend it, but the network will catch that. The miners will find out, okay, you sent Bitcoin to Stevon and Ed at the same time, only one is valid, and the network will kick back the other one. So it's a new way of thinking about money, man, and currency and assets and value, right? And so with how much money printing we're doing with the Federal Reserve and all the easy money, low interest rates, free money, basically free money that the Federal Reserve is giving to these corporations, it's only a matter of time before that inflation hits us, and that's just a way of protecting yourself against that inflation. That inflation will be expressed in the price of Bitcoin going to the moon. So we'll definitely have more of a talk about that. Last thing I want to hit with you on is when I was on your show, you asked me about Trump. What did I think about the presidential election? Which way it was gonna go? I'm not wrong yet. Let me just put it out there. I'm not wrong yet. It's not looking good, but I'm not wrong yet. What is your assessment of what happened this year, this presidential election, man? It was a hot mess in my opinion, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. Would love to know how you felt about what you saw.
Okay, so the actual vote count, not the whole year. Okay.
Well, either one.
Yeah.
Or both. Let's talk both. Let's talk both, because I didn't get a chance to ask you that.
Right.
On the
so I actually thought that there was no way Biden would win because of all of his like communication issues and the lack of like real interest in him. All of the interest in him was anti-Trump, and I was of the opinion that anybody but strategies don't win elections. Like, people vote for people, not for who they hate. And so I was proven wrong in this election, because it seems like because that is still true. People voted for Biden. I'm sure some people would actually like him, but the amount of people
But a lot of people that I've heard that voted for him voted for that reason. They didn't like Trump, so they voted for senile basement Biden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's my read of how the election panned out. All of I don't really like anybody that will object to winning if it's not in their favor. So like that just wasn't fly. Like the whole this is a fraud because I didn't win, but if I won, it wouldn't be a fraud. Like that's not fly.
Mm-hmm. But that would happen on each side, right? So if it was the other way around, the Democrats would surely call it fraud. They did actually for 4 years. Now that I think about it. Both sides are going to do that.
Right. I would say that if you lose, you lose, no matter what party you're affiliated with. And so and if they stole it, they stole it. No matter what party you're affiliated with. So
okay. All right.
Now if people are actually committing fraud, and there's a lot there's way more going on than I think any casual American understands behind, like, you know, what all the machinations and who has interest and the types of ways that voter suppression works, or like all of that stuff, right? There's a lot invested in these election outcomes. So the chance that there is some unfoul practices or unfair practices is high, especially given the nature of politics. The nature of politics is not about necessarily, you know, it's about influence and winning. You know, it's winning at all costs. Right. Especially today, it's not really about working together. You know, it's just about winning. So, yeah, it's possible that there was fraud in the last one. It's possible there was fraud in this one, and so, you know, we'll see.
For sure, bro. It's fraud in every election. It's just about what threshold, right? Mm-hmm. Was it enough fraud for it to literally change the outcome? Which the outcome was very close, you know? So that's even more of a concern for a person like me when I hear the media all day, every day, blue wave, this is going to be a landslide, this is not even a competition, and then we see it's like down to the wire, you know? So that says a lot about America, right? For most of, like, half the people to still vote for Trump. Actually half, but more than what they did prior. And then on the other side, I say, now really, did America cast more votes for Biden than they did for Obama? That's a little suspicious, man. I don't think that many people. I didn't like Obama, but he was at least a presidential, like, he was presidential, right? He fit the order. More than Biden and Trump. Like, I never thought that Trump was presidential. I just felt like he got in there and got the job done in his messy, chaotic, narcissistic way. Mm-hmm. But Obama was definitely presidential. He knew how to speak. He was a great orator. All that great stuff, right? Smart. Knew how to. Well, I wouldn't say foreign relations. I think he kind of was soft on that tip, but you get what I'm saying. Like, for you, so America, you telling me?
I don't think.
Go ahead.
I would say I don't think Obama was soft on foreign relations. You know, he did kill Osama, and they offed Gaddafi. Like, he was a hitter. He's definitely not. He drone strikes. Like, he was like very aggressive in the more new age way. You know, it's not like
that's not foreign relations. That's foreign genocide. That's just straight war. I'm talking about, like, being able to negotiate, earn the respect of other foreign dignities.
Yeah, I would say that's debatable. I mean, I think yeah, we can get into that, but on the and I have a little more time. I don't want to rush this conversation. Because it's important, and I like talking to you about stuff like this. I appreciate your perspective, and that we don't agree, you know.
Right.
But I had on my podcast a man named Todd Rogers, who's he's a Harvard behavioral scientist.
Okay.
And he was in the book. We went to the same college, but I came across him because of a book called Victory Lab, where they go over his story and how, in his work of influencing election outcomes, using mail strategies to nudge voters, and the most effective ways to increase voter outcome, right? And so in the past, Rogers was pretty much ignored by conventional political consultants. But on my podcast, and what we saw happen in this election was, he said that, you know, if voters know that your neighbors are going to know if you voted or not, and if people make a plan on what they're going to do the day that they vote, the chances of them voting increase exponentially, just if they make a plan. And what we saw, what at least I saw in a lot of the commentary from various public figures, not only was like vote, like the whole vote image was just everywhere. Yeah. But people were being asked, you know, what's your plan to vote? So like both sides are doing that. you know, and that wasn't really happening under, you know, when Obama came in 08. Obama's rise was like, I don't know, it was like, you know, Messiah like. It was like the impact of his public presence. There was so much goodwill. So for the people that voted for him, that showed up, there was just like this euphoria. But it was kind of for the people that were paying attention and that made a plan, you know, that knew they wanted to show up for him. It was different than this past year. This is why I'm saying, like, I can't see the reasons why voter turnout increased on both sides, because everyone was saying, make a plan to vote, make a plan to vote.
Sure. Yeah. I've never seen it this pervasive. Right. I'm seeing it in Slack. I'm seeing it in, I'm seeing it in apps. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You know? Right. So I agree. I agree. Definitely, I agree on that one. Well, man, it's been a pleasure having you on today, bro. We're definitely going to have to kick this one up again and finish the conversation, because there's so much that was not, we didn't get a chance to touch on. But where can people find you? What's the best avenues for them to check you out? All that good stuff.
Yeah, I do have a newsletter that I thank you for putting the website. This you can register to the newsletter on YouTube. It's Cook on Monday Morning. On Instagram and Twitter, it's at Stevon Cook. So, you know, my email is info@stevoncook.com. So those are the best ways to get a hold of me. And yeah, thanks for having me on, bro. It's good to talk to you.
Yeah, no doubt. Make sure you guys like, share, and subscribe. You want to see my man Stevon back on, definitely show him some love. Maybe we'll get him on a live stream. I usually have people on for a kicking it session first before having them on that off the chain live stream. But again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Another kicking it session with my man Stevon Cook. We out of here. Mrs. Fat Booty. Oh man, why this song? I am not even gonna get to that. We out of here, people. Holla.